जिंदगी रंगीन है right now?
काइंड ऑफ रंगीन क्या है वो तो बीच बीच में ढूंढना पड़ता है। जिंदगी तो एक ऐसे चलती रहती है, कुछ कुछ बीच में ढूंढना पड़ता है। हाँ, ये रंगीन है। यू हैव टू लाइक लुक एट ऑल द स्टफ दैट इज एक्साइटिंग यू एट एवरी मोमेंट।
Right. So we are in conversation with Amardeep Galsin, our Ludhiana di kudi. Am I correct?
Yes, I am from Ludhiana.
Uh,
Born and brought up there.
right.
I have done my school and college from Ludhiana. But for my post grad, I came to Pune, and from there, I came to Bombay. And I've been in Bombay for about 24 years now. Yeah. But many college अपना GCW Government College
Hmm.
for Women से किया है in
Oh,
Ludhiana in my graduation.
right, right. Uh,
Yeah.
you're the writer creator of Rangeen web series, which is streaming on Amazon. Happy with the response to the series? A very bold subject, almost a forbidden subject, you know. Though of course, last some time ago we did have that Tribune CA, which was also on similar lines, right?
Yes, yes, it is. Yeah, it is a bold subject. Yeah, kind of. I think one always tries to look at, even in bold subjects, one is always looking at the, so to speak, the softer aspects, the vulnerabilities, and the emotionalities involved. So I hope we have managed to do that.
But otherwise, tell me, whenever we talk of sex, is kind of a. Do you think it's a very ticklish subject? And normally in our entertainment world, by and large, brushed under the carpet, especially when it comes to sexual desires of women.
It is. It is. It does make people uncomfortable, and there are always both extremes to it. Some for some people, it is they feel that you've turned it up too much, and some people will also not like it if you play it safe. So one is always, these kind of subjects are always, especially subjects that are sitting on uncomfortable truths that could expose things or make you see things that you're not sometimes ready to see. Everyone does have an opinion. These are always tricky subjects to navigate, never easy. One has to try and find a way to not cross the line where it is no more sensitive anymore, right? To deal with it with sensitivity, and yet stay true to the world that you have chosen. The world that we chose was very interesting for us. It was full of lots of complexities, and we didn't look at it like, actually that was a bit of a I would say a bit of a revelation for us, because the obvious interpretation when you talk about paid intimacy is that it would be about sex, it would be about bedrooms, it would be the sometimes a lot of people also interpret a subject like this always to be a sex comedy. But when we actually started reading about this world, we were very surprised to see that it goes way beyond that. A lot of times it's about emotional intimacy, and we were like, hey, these are things people say to sort of make it sound valid. But it genuinely, all the stories we read, I come from a documentary background, so I always deep dive. I first read a lot. I always, go for as many stories that I can get that have already been, written. Journalists have spoken to people firsthand. We like to speak to people firsthand. People who may have had some brush with a world like this. And I was very surprised to find that it goes way beyond sometimes just routine desires. Routine desires is a part of it, that will always be a part of it, but it goes way beyond that. It's also about people who are looking for some sort of resolution which they are not getting otherwise in life. It can be emotional, it can even be sometimes sexual, feeling judged for wanting something, but, finding a way to figure out how to be in a place of non judgment, and sometimes it's about, um, agency that they don't find, sometimes it's about uh, emotional intimacy. So yeah, it was the whole world was so full of interesting stories, so full of contradictions also, that yeah, yeah, I
But
forgot the
but is
original
there
question.
information also already available about this world, about the world of gigolos? I don't know how to pronounce it correctly.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
yeah. Is there enough? I mean, like, I believe you started off with some. The trigger was some newspaper report about a doctor being caught or something, or
Yes.
some story about that. But is there? I mean, I would assume that these kind of stories would be very rare.
They were rare. In fact, they were not easily available. You have to really deep dive to find the stuff. And they're also not easily available because people who are involved in it may not want to come out and come forth and speak to people about it. In fact, when we wanted to speak to a few gigolos, it was
Yeah.
tough for them to even accept our call, because they would fear that maybe we are journalists, maybe we are trying to blow their cover. So it's not easy. It's not easy for people who are doing it also to speak it. Actually, I found people who have done it, they were a little more forthcoming about it, but people who are providing the services, it's not easy. So it wasn't easy to look for these articles, but we did find them by doing a lot of effort. We also got in touch with some of the journalists who had done those stories. So it also, we also live in a certain denial that these things don't exist. So, or they exist only in the bigger cities. It's a thing in, let's say, a Bombay or Delhi, but not in the small towns. And but we were surprised that it is very much there in the small towns, and maybe the hypocrisy is also higher in small towns. So so it was interesting for us that in a place where we thought people may not find the courage to do something like this, women were finding that finding the boldness to do it. It's a very bold thing to do. It's not something that you can take a thing on a whim. Sometimes some people do on a whim also, but like so many people finding that kind of boldness to do it, we were very surprised. In fact, we had one or two people from our writing research team um, uh, wanting to volunteer to speak to people like this, just for research. So we had to do our own research. It was tricky for them. I was like, listen, hey, I'm not asking you to do it. I hope you know you're doing it on your own will. They were like, no, it's important to know what the world is. Unless we go and check it out, unless we go and meet the real people who are involved in this, how will we able to tell you how true it is or not? We absolutely did not want it to be like a figment of our imagination. That we didn't want. Not with a subject like this.
But also, when we talk of female sex workers, we invariably, in our celluloid world, we come from a place of empathy. Generally, there is a lot of empathy for all female sex workers, uh, by and large. But when it comes to male sex workers, what kind, were you coming from the same space, or was it this different?
Uh, I'm sorry, I didn't get it. When it comes to the
I said,
men,
female sex workers, whenever they are shown on the screen, and otherwise also we always say that they have turned to this because of certain compulsions, or they've been forced into it. But are we coming from the same place of empathy for male sex workers also?
I think people have various reasons to get into this. Um, some are possibly forced, no doubt that part exists. When it comes to this aspect, when it came to male escorts, we were surprised how many people were doing it just for the the adventure of it. I was like, or just, yeah, a lot of people were doing it because they were trying to figure out, hey, this looks intriguing. How about me checking it out, how it looks like? But there is, see, I think people do it for various different reasons. In the male escort world, the dangers are a little low, especially when you are servicing women. They are lower than they are in the female escort world. I'm sure, I don't want to generalize, I'm sure dangers exist in every, whenever there is a profession like this. But whatever we heard, whatever we read, whatever we spoke about with the people who were into it, we realized they were all like, listen, our clients are very nice to us. They will, sometimes offer to help you, beyond what your transactions are otherwise. And I think it's just the nature of what is expected out of them at certain times. That I think the world did not, for us, the the grayness of it did not come in our interactions with people. At least those who were servicing women, who nahi aaya. But there is a certain grayness involved, which we've tried to show here. Uh, when the male sex workers or male escorts were dealing with male clients, that grayness was did definitely come out in our conversations. So again, I don't want to generalize. I'm sure there are both aspects involved here. This is just from what we read, what we heard, what we got to know.
And any particular reason for having your male lead as a journalist? I mean, journalists are supposed to, as you said, that many thought you were journalists. Journalists are supposed to uncover this world, and then unwittingly or because of his male ego, he becomes a part of this world.
No specific reason per se, but just the irony of it, that a guy who's supposed to sort of be so aware, so in tune with what's going on in the world, has no idea of what's going on in his own house, and he thinks he knows it. Also comes with a bit, a sense of entitlement, and but when that thing shatters, he thinks he should be needed, just purely because he's a good guy, trying to do the right things. But when that shatters, he doesn't know who he is. He when what he thought is enough in the world for the woman to like her, for the wife to sort of be with her. When that shatters, how he has to rebuild himself. And also he approaches this whole thing with a bit of curiosity as well. So we thought that just made for a very interesting uh, mix and an irony.
And the fact that your co-partner is a man, right? Amir Rizvi,
Amir,
yeah,
Amir. Yes.
Amir Rizvi. So, did that balance out the fact there is the male gaze or the female gaze, or how are you looking at this strictly from from a neutral gaze?
See, I feel the gaze is not about who is writing it or who is shooting it. It's about how you are empathizing with the characters who are, who we are showing. Are you empathetic? Are you sensitive? Do you are you staying away from objectification or your own personal judgment? And if at all, sometimes we are all human. Sometimes we all make those errors. And if at all are you open to listening it? That could be not the best way of looking at it. So that I think it's not got to do with the gender. In fact, Amir was dealing with this subject so with so much empathy and so much sensitivity that I had many things to learn from him. It's got to be the vulnerability of both genders for us was very important. For without it looking at it from just a female thing or a male thing, and we were all just trying to learn more, imbibe more, get more and more sensitive while we were, doing this project, and we are just so much more richer for that now, having gone through it.
But it works well, the male female partnership. Do you think it's a better combination than two men working together or two women working together?
Well, it works really well for us. He's got this crazy, quirky way of looking at things. For him, everything is, like everything is such a satirical view of looking, and I am always looking at those little vulnerabilities, the little moments, the emotional complexities. So it's just a nice combination when put together. It comes with lots of sometimes fights for the right reasons. We're fighting for the right reasons. That's the good thing. But it does come with a lot of sometimes differing perspectives. But we have to eventually convert the other, or convince the other, and we move forward fully convinced. Uh, that whatever we are trying to bring is the other person is fully on board with that. So yeah, it does work in a subject like this. It does work, but we uh, I mean, we both, I think at least Amir surprised me many times about certain perspectives he had about a lot of the female characters we were writing that I hadn't thought of. So again, like I said in my
Like
previous.
and anything in particular?
Uh, like Nana, for example, the choice of not having Nana justify her actions was not only collectively taken, but also may have been sort of, pushed by Amir. He was like, listen, if a guy were to do something like this, he wouldn't have to answer to anyone as to why he did it. It's understood why he did it. And when it comes to Nana, everyone, whoever we would just share, even like a one liner or a concept with, everyone was like, listen, is Nana going to redeem herself? And what is Nana's thing going to be like? We were like, अरे अभी तो मतलब हमने लिखना भी नहीं शुरू किया है सब नैना के पीछे क्यों पड़े हुए पड़े हुए हैं and the whole idea of us having to give justifications for our actions was so happened so organically that everyone was pouncing on Naina, and we were like, and Amir, when he made that statement, he was like, a man wouldn't be asked to give a justification. I said, yeah, why should she be? I mean, please, isn't it obvious? She has chosen silence over giving a justification. Yeah, she deserved a conversation with her husband. The husband is not having conversations with her. He is going and judging her. He is going and making statements like किस तरह की औरत ऐसे काम करती है, and he's coming from a very like certain sense of entitlement and some sort of patriarchy also when he makes statements like this. So और हमको लगा नहीं यार, and when I was like, yeah, why should she justify? She's done it, and there is guilt written on her face. It's obvious, and she doesn't need to perform her guilt. She doesn't need to give long monologues to justify or give some sort of a victimhood answer to justify the actions that she has done. She is flawed. She's messy, and let's accept a messy and flawed woman on screen. I mean, that's how we should look at Nana. And yeah, that was when he like this clarity came out of conversations with him. He may have nudged us in this direction. He said, "Look
But
at Nana. How you would look at me?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, that makes sense."
her choice to remain single, do you think that's the way out if a relationship gets complicated?
Are you talking about Nana?
Yeah, yes, yes, yes.
No, I'm not. This is not a way out. We are not giving right and wrong answers. I just hope for Nana that others had, looked a little bit into their relationship. Uh, and it's very, that the love is there between Nana and others. That is sort of obvious. It's there towards the end also when they meet, that she is still hoping that he sort of sees her instead of only goes on his own trip in life, that she's still hoping for that without actually asking for it, because I'm sure in her in like these are conversations we've had, she may have done her own sort of attempts at trying to get the husband to see her, in trying to sort of keep the relationship alive. She must have done all those efforts. She must have done so much before taking such an extreme step. And we never wanted to either justify it or condone it, or sort of judge it. We didn't want to look at it from a right and wrong perspective at all. We wanted the answers. We didn't want to hand any answers here. There are no easy answers to stuff like infidelity or
Exactly.
um, yeah, there are no easy answers. People do things when they are lonely or when they are heartbroken that are stupid, silly sometimes. I mean, is they have to chart their own journey where they figure out how to move forward with grace. And that was important for us, for Naina, and it was very important for us for Adarsh also. He also, towards the end, accepts with grace and with a huge amount of emotional maturity that he also may not have been there for her, and he's sorry for not having been there for her. That takes an immense amount of emotional maturity. And where we have left Nana and Adarsh eventually, uh, we at least we intended to leave it a little open ended, that everything's not over between them.
Okay.
Maybe something is still possible. So it's a bittersweet thing that we have left it by the end of the series. The last scene between the two is bittersweet. You are happy that Adarsh is here now, willing to listen. You are sad that she does not, finally, when she has the time for her, she doesn't have space for that love in her life anymore. She's lived with that guilt for so long now that she's like, listen, I first need to figure out, what is
Yeah.
it? How can I be with you with accepting my fuller self? So yeah, I think we left it very open ended. uh, I hope it came across.
And yeah, come that question I'll come to later, whether it came across or not. But you were talking of fights between yourself and Amir over over the writing part or over your creative partnership. What about any fights with Kabir Khan, who's produced the show? Right, he's he's backed the show.
Yes, he has. No, he has been fully and fully supportive. He's also my very first boss. I had started my career assisting him on his documentaries, and then I was directing some of the documentaries also in the production house that he was working in before he took Kabul Express to Yash Raj, and then I assisted him on Kabul
Right.
Express. and it was always a very beautiful collaboration. Me, Amir, both have worked with him in our early careers, and it was always a thing. We knew that we will work on something else again, and that opportunity, the one that looked like a good opportunity, that this looks like the great project to collaborate on, happened with Rangeen.
But anything of his working style which may have rubbed upon you both?
Uh, I think the fact that we were working on his documentaries and he was very always interested in, uh, you know, subjects of world politics, even in his documentaries, and looking for human stories in larger, worlds. That I think that is something that we sort of really, I think, liked. That approach we liked, uh, having that. Very few people, at least at that time when we started working with him, very few filmmakers were making topics that had that were bold. Kabul Express was a very bold film for its time, um, and it was so sensitively handled. This combination of boldness and sensitivity, which I love Bajrangi Bhaijaan also, but it's my all-time favorite film. This combination may have come from, I'm sure it came from there. It's also working on Kabul Express, the whole role of films, art, especially Indian films, both has some sort of a connection and resistance. While we were working in Kabul, it was so refreshing to see. That was so beautiful. It left a mark on us, and yeah, and I think the attempt always is to do that. With whatever subject you take up, you attempt it. Sometimes you manage to put the two together, and there are some other times when you're doing projects when you're like, okay, let's not force fit it, let's go where it organically takes us.
And now we come to the part whether people got it or not. Of course, the show is one of the top five on Amazon, right? Uh,
Yeah, in the series it's the topmost. Yeah.
yes, and the IMDb rating is also not bad. It's 6.1. But somehow critics have not responded very kindly, very positively to it. What I mean, does it hurt that they didn't get what you were trying to say, or what, or you are somewhere in agreement with their, with their criticism?
See, we were aware that this is going to open to mixed responses. We were aware the topics are such that you do too much, people get uncomfortable. You do too little, people will say you're playing it too safe. So we were aware. These are topics which will never, which are always tricky topics to get into. And also, our ecosystem is such at this point of time, we yet don't know how to handle, stories that are in gray areas, that you're always having to be aware of the sensitivities at play, like that's something that just becomes so a part of your process that, you're trying to somehow hold on to your voice without making compromises, and some shortcomings you are aware of, but you at that point of time, for the larger story, you sort of have to still sort of navigate those. So having said that, feedback, any feedback, positive, negative, just helps us sharpen our instincts as creators, become better creators, and know how how so constantly, like it's a constant learning process to retain your voice as filmmakers, to retain your vision as filmmakers, and not let it be diluted by sometimes projects that go on for too long. Ours went on for too long for various reasons. So that
Was
is a learning.
was subject the reason that you were not
There
finding
were
enough?
no, it was just, I think it was just many things. Subject was also the reason, but it was also many other things. Sometimes date availability, sometimes just a collaboration that we wanted to work out, which didn't work out. So, it was just a few things put together. Yeah.
And was casting a challenge, or all these gifted actors came on board easily?
Casting
Vineet.
was a challenge. I
Yeah.
wouldn't deny that. Vineet was one of the first people we got on board, and he was immediately in. He read about 3, 4 episodes, and he was like, "I'm doing this," and he was our first choice for others. And we got him on board very early. And so Vineet casting Vineet was not. Uh, happened very easily. But after that, a lot of time, because what happens is going to when concept like this goes to actors, what they read is it's a show about gigolos, and they read a synopsis. Synopsis doesn't say much. Synopsis doesn't say what kind of writing is it. The obvious interpretation people have is it's going to be titillating, it's going to be vulgar. For all maybe I'm going to be
Huh.
uncomfortable doing many scenes. And even though, even also the constant doubt is that even though first of all, many people haven't read the show. They have only read the synopsis. So they're just reacting to the synopsis. And when they read the synopsis, and then they are like, it's a, many people are not ready to bear themselves like
Hmm.
this, emotional. We knew we are not doing anything. We always knew from the very beginning, this is something we had decided. This is not going to be a sex comedy. This is not going to have vulgarity. This is not going to have uncomfortable sex scenes, unless the discomfort is a part of the story, like unless that it's furthering story in some way. We knew all those things. And we also knew that even when a scene like this comes, these scenes you'd never do without, having the comfort of your actor in place first. This is something we knew. They didn't know that. They would react to the synopsis. Even when sometimes people read scripts, they are like, listen, पेपर पे ये लिखा है, लेकिन सेट पे क्या ही बोल देंगे करने के लिए, तो कुछ पता नहीं है. तो ऐसे टॉपिक के साथ ये आ जाता है. And so even casting some of the secondary characters was not that easy. But whoever came on board eventually, we were just so happy that they all came on board with full, having been fully on board with the fact that, listen, a subject like this is important, and it's also important for it to be handled sensitively, or something with sensitivity to come out. So yeah, eventually whoever came on board was fully on board. They were never half-heartedly on board. वो
So
नहीं हुआ. That was a good thing.
you're talking of actors. What do you think about audiences? Do you think as audiences also we Indians are rather squeamish when it comes to this subject of sex? Whenever we utter this three-letter word, somehow even as audiences, you think we freeze.
Uh, I think there are all kinds of audiences. The fact is that we are already, sort of these days, all series come with your warnings about what all you could potentially watch in a show like this. So whoever is watching it is watching it knowing fully well what they're going to watch. In fact, even platforms these days are will like the rating platforms will put out
Yeah.
what level of nudity you may watch, what level of galis you may watch. Surprisingly, we are always ready to watch a lot more galis than we are to watch, anything. Well, that is more acceptable for some reason. I don't know why. तो ये जो है ये हमेशा दिया जाता है, होता है हमेशा.
I knew
Uh,
this is an adult show. It comes as a right.
yeah, it
Yeah.
will come as A. So whoever is watching it after knowing it's coming as A, and after that they are getting uncomfortable, then I mean, there's very little I can say.
Maybe on OTT platforms we are more open to such subjects. Yeah, you are right. Yes.
Yeah, but I think, I don't think we have made the show in that way that it should get very uncomfortable. I mean, knowing fully well that it's adult, and that you are watching it with that full knowledge, I think you are already open to some amount of things that potentially could make you uncomfortable. I think वो थोड़ा openness तो उसी से आ जाता है. Yeah.
And next, what are you writing? Since you are from Punjab, Ludhiana, anything in Punjabi can we expect from you?
Uh, well, I am writing a film and a series. Uh, they are both Hindi.
Yeah.
They are both Hindi. And one is
हो गया तुसी हैं
sorry.
ते पंजाब ऐसे ते पंजाबी च कदों लिखोगे फिर
Punjabi च कदों लिखना है.
or a story about Punjab, if not in
Stories about Punjab fascinate me a lot. In fact, one of my stories is actually was, let me put it as was based in Punjab. My first film that I wrote was based in Punjab. It was a family satire, dark family satire. Uh, in the process of writing Rangeen, वो थोड़ा back burner पे चला गया, and then I saw two more films that were had the same premise. Over the next 6 years, I saw two more films that had the same premise. So then I thought maybe, till the time I don't know how different my film is from the others, let me put it on a hold for now. I'm sure I will return to the story, because what happens is when you see something made on the same subject, वो थोड़ा सा ऐसा डिस्करेजमेंट हो जाता है. एंड तो मैंने उसको अभी रखा हुआ है एज अ प्रोजेक्ट दैट आई विल रिटर्न टू. So I was saying I will return back to that story um, sometime soon.
so what is it as edgy as Rangeen, or is it a love story or a period piece? What exactly is this
So
Punjab
it's
story?
it's a dark family satire.
Okay, dark
Yeah.
families. Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
You said
Yeah.
yes. And the movie and the series that you're writing right now.
One is a period crime
Hmm.
drama, which is something I'm sure running actually. There is another writer involved. He came up with something very nice to us. It was beautiful, and both me and Amir are finding ways to collaborate on that story. The film is a buddy love. It's has sense of humor again.
Hmm.
Um, uh, and that's something I've almost like more than I'm almost about to finish. That's something I'll be directing. Uh, in addition to writing it with Amir. Amir is a collaborator on most of what I'm writing right now. So yeah, those are the
So
next two projects.
so between you, are creator and showrunner one and the same thing, or is there a slight difference? Is there something different about being a showrunner as opposed to a creator, or almost the same thing?
Not necessarily, and not always. A lot of times, creators are showrunners. Oftentimes, um, they are not, it's a combination. It's really up to what is the skill set you have. A creator is someone who creates the show from scratch, comes up with the idea, pitches it, gets people on board, gets talent on board, then gets at least the first few people on board, and then writers are people who write it. We had wanted to to write only maybe one episode and involve more writers in it, but it so happened that eventually we ended up choosing to do the writing as well. Showrunner is someone who sees the project from the very beginning to the very end. That means that it is actually a producer on the project. So a showrunner will now get talent on board in terms of casting. Be also the sort of the creative voice and the vision behind the show at all levels, from your pre-production to the shoot and going on to post till the last minute the show has not gotten released. It's the showrunner is at play, so you are basically the one who has to see the project through till the very end.
But between documentaries and fiction, what would you say is more challenging?
Uh, being the format, honestly, to me, both formats excite. They are exciting for different reasons. Documentary is what you're going to find. It's documentary is very explorative. You have to go and be ready to be challenged with your own notions of what you thought a subject is going to give you. And every time you go out there, and it's going to give you more than what you thought it will give you.
Right,
So,
right.
and you have to also approach it with so much more, patience, because it's a one-man show after a certain point of time. They are very lean teams, which is both a blessing and a challenge at the same time. Blessing because your vision rarely ever, gets diluted. You are more always building on it from real world stories, and evolving along the way. Evolving, you yourself evolve along the way. You get to know so many things you had no clue about.
Right.
So that I like. Documentaries I like because of that. I love that very much. And fictions almost sounds therapeutic. It's like whatever is inside you, sometimes you're bringing out and putting it on paper. It's also sometimes you're also observing a lot. You are very but it's very difficult. I find script writing, actually script writing can be as easy and as difficult as you make it. If you're just writing thinking कि चलो I will deliver this project in this much time, तो कुछ लिख के कुछ ना कुछ बन ही जाएगा अच्छा. But if you're trying to get into subjects that are sensitive, uncomfortable, that are challenging, you're looking at some sort of social reflection, you're looking at commentary, you're constantly being tough on yourself. Am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? Is this enough? Should I go there? So there's a lot of constant checking, self, अपने ऊपर ही you are putting those uh, uh, challenges. So both, I would say, every time we come across a subject, uh, we will first see what is the best format for this subject. Even today, if I get a good subject and it looks like the best way to do it would be a docu series, I would go for a docu series format, because it would feel more organic to that concept. So I'm not bound by formats. I there are The subject decides, I feel, what you should be doing with it.
Right. And final question: what kind of cinema would you like to be associated with? How is it important, as you're saying, it is important to say something through, whether it's a web series or a movie, or just for entertainment's sake.
I think I think it's important to be responsible. That's important. I love some sort of, social reflection, some commentary. I love it, and I would like to always, but deal with it with some amount of humor. Not necessarily always comedy and out comedy, but some amount of humor I like. And I like it to also say some things, at least further some narrative in some way. And even if you have small wins, like I love the fact that Nena was appreciated in our series for as a woman who didn't feel the need. We didn't feel the dire need for her to explain her actions, and that's a small win for us. Just a furthering of a narrative, accepting that female characters should be allowed to be flawed as well. We are always more accepting of male characters to be flawed, and we are not judging them, and we are not putting labels and tags on them all over social media and saying, "Look at this guy and look at that guy." But we are
No, no,
so easy.
but we often use the word misogyny for misogynist for them, all the while. They too are
Yeah,
being judged.
but still, overall, I feel the larger part of the judgment, I feel, always is aimed at scrutiny. Especially is always aimed some. I don't know why it's always reserved for the female characters more. थोड़ा accepting है हम to accept flawed characters in males. So I feel
Yeah.
कि कुछ anything, I think any furthering of narrative, some commentary or reflection is always good, and I like to deal with it with some humor. That's, I feel, would be my
Right.
kind of ideal watch. Even
Mm.
watching, I like that. Um,
And then anything you would like to say in Punjabi for people out here about your work or about yourself? Anything Punjabi, quintessentially Punjabi about you? The
I
Punjabi
have to
can
tell you one thing though. That's
Punjabi Punjabi. If you can say that in
Punjabi.
Punjabi.
ओके ओके मेरा राइटिंग द जेड़ा जर्नी है वो एक्चुअली बाय द वे ट्रिब्यून तो शुरू हुआ है
Oh, wow.
आई थिंक आई वाज इन सिक्स्थ और सेवन्थ मैंने याद नहीं स्टैंडर्ड नहीं याद बट मैं एक पोएम लिखी सी ਤੇ ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਸਕੂਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਬਲਿਸ਼ ਓਨਲੀ ਮੈਗਜ਼ੀਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਗਜ਼ੀਨ ਨੇ ਪਬਲਿਸ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ they didn't, obviously they don't give explanations, publish नहीं हुई. And when the magazine came out, my mother went to the editor, protective mother, also academician, so feisty on that front. So she was like, "What happened? Why did you not publish your a poem? I'm an academician, and I think that this is a beautiful poem, and very few people are capable of writing stuff like this." Full protective mother went to teacher and asked questions. The teacher was like. Listen, a lot of people write and they copy stuff from somewhere and send it to us, and we don't publish it and all that. She didn't know she had no idea that I had in that meanwhile sent that poem to Tribune. This was
Oh,
6 months.
that
And sorry.
yes. Yeah. Please go on. Yeah.
And soon that even I didn't know she has gone and said all these things to the teacher. I didn't know it. So the Tribune, which ਜਦੋਂ poem publish हुई, then she felt validated. She's like, look, my
So,
daughter has written a poem. It's in the Tribune. I wrote. I think I've got at least 4 or 5 poems published in the Tribune when I
so,
was
so,
in school.
so the Tribune can take some credit for the writer you knew. for their,
For yes, telling me that continue on this journey, absolute full credit, because you know because discouragement from when, and that was the first poem I ever wrote, by the way.
yeah.
And when you get discouragement, see, my mother is a full warrior like that. She's a full champion. Always uh, stood for the right things, said the right things at the right time. And my father's also an academician, by the way. I get a lot of my sort of approach to details and to storytelling from how they have raised me, both of them. They have raised me to have a sense of curiosity. So that's a gift that I've got from them. That's a gift my father has. He is a physicist who has published 3 books internationally.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, um, so that yeah. So my mother and Tribune, yes, both for
Mhm.
my starting my doing the muhurat of my writing journey.
And now I am tempted to ask, where was the love for cinema sown with coming from a family of academicians?
Love for cinema. Actually, my mother is she's an English professor. She's retired now. She has always told us. हमेशा कोई कभी कीट्स की पोएम सुना रही है, कभी शैली की सुना रही हैं, तो then शेक्सपियर ऑब्वियसली ऑलवेज.
Right.
अच्छा, उस टाइम पे ना वो लगता था, इट यूज टू फील लाइक पढ़ाई. पता नहीं था, बिकॉज पढ़ाई थी भी हमारे लिए उस टाइम पे, वो पढ़ाई लगता था. एंड यू नो, बट all said and done, if that's how you've grown up, it's not going to, it's with you, it's in you, it's there. You may not have started expressing it in any way yet. Also, she was also into music, so she encouraged me into all sorts of arts. Some of my teachers, they were so instrumental in pushing me into so many arts, especially painting, music, debate. I'm so thankful that they identified these things in me. And when teachers do that, it's just such a blessing, right? So, and my mother was always pushing it. So, while I was growing up, it sort of became sort of a thing that I think I will do something in the art,
Creative.
in the creative world. And initially, I thought, or writing.
Hmm.
My dad, by the way, even though he's a physicist, he would be sitting with a book. He'll be sitting with all these books and writing his books. But पीछे एक हॉलीवुड मूवी जरूर चल रहा होता है. और
Oh,
जैसे ही एक्शन आता था तो ही वुड लाइक फॉरगेट हिज राइटिंग एंड बी लुकिंग एट एक्शन. एक्शन खत्म हुआ, उसके बाद बैक टू हिज राइटिंग. सो आई थिंक आई हैव गॉट sense of the love for entertainment from my dad, and all the literature and the poetry and the music from my mother, and it just became a sort of a combination that stayed longer in me than anything else did. I mean, you find yourself along the way,
right.
especially when you love so many arts. It's always difficult to choose. I first thought maybe I'd be a singer. I thought maybe I should be into music, but then there were everything else also that was sort of enticing me equally. And my mother thought the best way to do this is to do something in film and television. So yeah, that's how.
That's all. Okay, so it's been a lovely interaction. Thank you so much for talking to us. And now that we can take some of the credit, the Tribune can take some of the credit for it. and and I'm sure you'll make Punjab more and more proud. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Nonika. It was such a lovely interview. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Such a
such a
lovely.
pleasure. Okay, thank you. And many more on the making. Yes.
Thanks a
Thank you.
lot. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.